Alright, let me think. New year, new channel. Gotta start off strong, gotta start off with something people want to see. Horror movie, no, that's not gonna work. We just did that with Santa's Sleigh. Comedy, no, definitely not after Cousin Eddie. Kids movie, that's not a bad idea. Fun for the whole family and all that. Strong way to start off the year. Looks like I've got funny little cars here. The cover's not that impressive, but I've seen worse, but I can't put my finger on it. There's something off-putting about it. I'm sure it's nothing. I mean, how bad could it be, right? Right?
Weirdflix.
This movie should not exist. It is so fundamentally weird, strange, and wrong that I'm almost convinced that this is something not of this world. I can only assume this is a declaration of war or perhaps some strange form of torture. Not only does this film look like something that you'd see if you had a fever dream while dying,
there is no plot.
IMDb says that this is a TV show, but it's sold by Walmart as a movie, which would explain why every 25 minutes a whole new story starts up. Of course, it's not like those individual stories make sense either. One last thing. Before I talk about anything else in this movie, look at this box. Now look at this DVD. Not only is the image reversed, but the vehicles on the box are different colors. Note the blue and orange guys between the box and the DVD. I have no idea why this is like this. Also, I'd like you to take a guess as to who the main character is. Well, there's no putting it off anymore, I suppose. Prepare to witness funny little cars. So our film starts off with a TV opening and...
Oh my God, why does it look like that?
Seriously, I can't get over how weird this looks. It's better than an ant's life, I guess, but this almost makes me more uncomfortable. And that's saying a lot. The main character is this farm implement? I don't know what he is. He's named Grady, and he's friends with a dumpster named Honey, an old car named Sloey, and a girl car named Sarah. And he's got two tiny cars named Bee and Bo, but you'll see about them. So this first story seems to revolve around fuel, as Grady is having explosive gas, literally.
Hey, I'm sorry, Sloey. I ran out of our ecological fuel, so over in Neverland I had to fill up on emulsion, and now I have this awful stomach ache and absolutely terrible gas, too. Ugh.
And look, they messed up the text on him so bad that it's glitching out. And get used to things like that. For instance, there's literally an advertisement for a website on a billboard in this movie. Just a picture of the actual website. Look at this. Sorry, off topic. Apparently the eco fuel that Grady uses is out, so he had to use bad fuel given to us by the villain Archibald. He's kind of like Car Hitler or something. Now you may have noticed that the green car who is front and center on this DVD cover is nowhere to be seen. That's because he's literally in this movie for all of about 3 minutes. This is because this movie was made as an attempt to trick people into buying this instead of cars. That's why they put the Lightning McQueen character front and center instead of the weird tractor. Anyway, Archibald is keeping fuel from the average car for some reason, so Grady goes to stop him. Archibald makes an inaccurate historical statement.
Now, this is the most notable thing about him, well, that and the singing.
And Grady corrects him.
Nero, the famous Greek emperor, was a great poet just like me.
First of all, Nero wasn't Greek. He was a Roman emperor. And you're not a poet or an emperor. You're just a bully.
Also, Archibald changes color once in this scene for some reason. I don't know, another animation glitch, I guess. Grady throws out two balls, which Archibald and his minions make fun of, but they somehow turn into the two smaller cars that don't talk and are somewhat like bugs. You know, the ones I mentioned earlier. These two small things pop the tires of the regular cars, which I think is the equivalent of breaking someone's legs, and then, well, just watch. This is the worst thing I may have ever seen. Also, the fact that the streetlight was alive and chose to electrocute Archibald confuses me.
The only other non-living car thing is the dumpster. So why is the streetlight alive? And why did it try to fry him? I'm so confused and we're only 15 minutes in!
So now they're all wearing military gear, which I thought might be a glitch or something the first time I watched this, but upon a rewatch seems to be intentional. They come up with a plan that one of them will have to dress up as a girl and pretend to be in danger to capture Grady. The idea to have this car dress up as a girl comes up repeatedly and I do not understand why. Also, one of the small bug cars from earlier is now pink and has a bow on it rather than being identical as they were earlier.
Just another inconsistency.
Grady, despite literally driving past the trap, backs up and decides to take the bait, getting caught in quicksand. He's quickly rescued, which leads to Archibald getting trapped.
I'd like to take a moment to talk about the comical, almost unbelievable ineptitude of these minions. Despite being sentient cars, they are constantly running into and backing into each other. I've asked my editor to assemble a montage of these for your enjoyment.
Look at this. I'm almost speechless. The fact that these gents are still alive and not rusting in a scrapyard somewhere I can only attribute to the grace of the car god, as implied by the car pope from Cars 2. I know this movie isn't Cars 2, but it might be fun to pretend that this movie takes place like 5 minutes from Radiator Springs, which is why everything in this movie takes place in a barren wasteland.
Back to the story.
Archibald and his mooks, through the use of one of them dressing up as a girl again, find out there's a secret shipment of eco-fuel coming into town, and they make a deal with
Green, Lightning McQueen, and Mater? And Mater is smoking? They must have really let themselves go after the Cars franchise ended.
This leads to one of the most uncomfortable scenes I may have ever seen. The truck which is carrying the gas is ambushed by these cars and just kind of lays down defeated as they literally suck the gas from his tank.
I wish I was kidding. Look at this. Who would put this in a children's film or a TV show or whatever this is? It's weird. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to keep watching it. Why does the truck have to look so sad? Make it stop!
Archibald and friends, obviously very pleased with themselves after this, take a moment to celebrate before they start to suffer from explosive gas or something. Turns out this was a trap set by Grady and friends, and now we have to watch these guys explode, and it's just as uncomfortable as you'd expect. I've had root canals that were more pleasant than watching this film. This brings us to the end of the first section of the film, not that you'd know it if you were watching, since it just does a transition like any other section in this film. This plot is about, believe it or not, a giant robot. The dumpster receives a coded message about some project that's going on, so they send Slowey to investigate at a local watering hole.
Or would that be gasolining hole? No, that joke sucks.
Anyway, Slowey goes there and the bartender is not a car but some type of gas-pumping robot. You know, if I keep trying to keep track of every weird inconsistency, I'd be doing exactly what I am right now. A drunk car approaches Slowey and instantly becomes friends with him, and this car happens to know about the giant robot project. They chat until for some reason the cops come and the car says, "Remember Achilles!" This is also the first and last time we see cops in this movie. No, I don't know why. This is probably a good time to mention another character, one Dr. Kettle. You're probably wondering why right now there are no pictures of them on the screen. That would be because whoever they are not once shown throughout this entire film. Anyway, Dr. Kettle wants them to stop the robot using its Achilles heel, which is not actually its heel, despite what you may think. No, its Achilles heel is the fact that it can be stopped by 2 tiny cars electrocuting it, causing it to turn visible and almost crush Archibald's minions. I was impressed by the fact that they had a model for the robot. I assumed that they made it invisible to save money. Points for effort, I suppose. This ends the second story and leads us into the third, wherein Archibald wants to capture the girl car, Sarah, because she's apparently the fastest car ever, and he's going to sell her to someone so that they can create faster cars using her, or something.
This is not the only time Archibald mentions selling other cars to someone, leading me to believe that he's the car equivalent of a human trafficker.
Anyway, using one of his minions dressed up as a girl for the 3rd time now, Archibald tries to find out where he can get Sarah alone so that he can pick her up with a magnet. However, Grady is on top of things because he plans to use a wooden Sarah model which won't be picked up. How did he know they were going to use a magnet? Well, this is a good time to mention that Slowey is a double agent, who Archibald completely trusts for some reason, and Slowey then relays the plans to Grady so that he can stop them. Also, the code that Slowey and Archibald use is singing.
Oh, where have you been? Oh, where have you been? Hiding away from me.
Why, here I am, right by your side. Oh, can't you see?
Ah, beautiful. It's so beautiful. My ears, they're only bleeding a little bit.
So after finding this information out, they set the trap, and of course, Archibald and his minions fall for it. What else were you expecting? This ends this plot line, and the stories seem to be getting shorter, for which I'm very, very thankful. The next one is basically about an attempt to make Archibald's goons stronger through training, because they keep getting beat by small flying cars.
The only really notable thing about this section is the military training montage they go through, which... just watch.
I think the most impressive part about it was when they literally repeated the same scene almost 30 seconds apart. I mean, look at this. This is not edited in any way. This is how the movie is. These guys are a few grunts short of a platoon, so it makes sense that this section ends after the bug literally falls asleep on one of their heads, and then they all crash into each other. Fed up with those tiny flying cars, which are apparently children, Archibald plans to make a fake arcade for them to visit, so that he can, again, kidnap them and sell them to somebody who will use them to make better cars.
How would this even work? I don't care anymore.
The kids take the bait and fly into the arcade, but aren't electrocuted. So, like idiots, Archibald and his friends rush in and get electrocuted themselves. Why didn't the kids get electrocuted? Not even the movie knows. They literally tell you.
Okay, you gotta tell me, Grady, how come those little guys didn't get electrocuted?
I wish I knew.
Don't ask who the boat is, I don't know. He appears for this scene and nothing else. The final bit of this movie is literally just the bad guys getting laser guns, shooting them, and then exploding.
Boom. The end. No more funny little cars. This was such a difficult movie to write about. It's so surreal and told almost out of order that I could barely remember or comprehend any of it in a way that I could tell you about it. I just hope I did a good job in trying to convey the weirdness of this movie, but I don't know, maybe I should have asked for help or something.
Be careful what you wish for, Chris. You just might get it.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Alex, this early in the year and you're already staging a coup on Weirdflix. What are you going to do? You're going to talk about animation some more? I believe that Chris has covered all of the bases on the frontier of animation. It is a decent animation, better than Ant's Life, but still terrible. It has its flaws, mainly due to the inconsistencies. I decided to film myself watching this film for the first time. I'll put the footage right here. You can see the absolute terror in my eyes because it's just that bad. The animation, the storyline, all of it. What I'm here to talk to you about today is something far, far different than animation. Today, I will be using my political science degree that I'm currently pursuing to, and that's right, you guessed it, talk about the political undertones in funny little cars.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? How did you get here? Get out of here!
Dude, I'm the editor. I am literally everywhere.
Get out of here. This is my review. I don't see your name in the credits.
My name is always in the credits.
Really? I never noticed. Probably because you're not the star, like me.
Ouch. That hurt.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
What do you even want?
You know, I figured, since it's an animated movie, I'd hop in, give a little commentary, you know, like I did for An Ant's Life. But you know what? If you don't want me here, that is fine. That is fine. I will just go. Okay, I'll just go. Bye-bye.
I can't stop you, can I?
Oh no, Christopher. Fasten your seatbelt.
Here we go.
For starters, we have our classic supply and demand problem. We have a large demand for fuel. All these cars are lining up, they want fuel. However, the supply is being controlled by Archibald and his little posse, which means that essentially he can drive up prices and create a monopoly. Then, on the other hand, you have Grady and his crew who are trying to keep control of the eco-fuel that Dr. Kettle has made for them. Once again, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. Grady is also seen making demands for clean water and clean air whenever he's in the quicksand trap.
Clean earth, clean water, clean air.
In my personal opinion, I believe to be a call to action in regards to big business and their role in climate change, and pollution. Grady and his gang are simply just fighting for a cleaner future, and Archibald only cares about personal gain. Speaking of Archibald, throughout this whole film, our poor little Archie boy struggles to maintain control. This can be seen by his need to punish those who break rules that most people would consider to be not that big of a deal, right? I'm going to draw parallels to 1940s Germany. During the reign of the Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, if you spoke out against the establishment, you were gonna get killed. Archibald trying to capture Grady and the rest of the gang is a direct parallel to that point in time in history. Archibald knows that he lacks control, and simply, if he wants to maintain power, he needs them out of the way. The last thing I want to mention is the feminist undertones in Funny Little Cars. For this, I'm just gonna simply focus on Sarah. Sarah, who, you know, is apparently the fastest car in this movie universe, is constantly reduced to a piece of meat metal or sheet metal, whatever you want to call it. I suppose it doesn't matter. But Archibald goes out of his way to constantly objectify her. He even mentions about what a nice set of tires she has.
You can't possibly be serious. You don't know her? The prettiest, pinkest little automobile for miles around. She has the most beautiful tires, not to mention all of the rest.
I don't want to guess what the human equivalent of a nice set of tires is. All I know is that it makes me feel gross inside. Sarah is only ever referred to as the pretty car, or the fastest car whenever Archibald is trying to capture her and sell her parts to make other cars, which in and of itself is just disgusting and gross and probably a human rights violation. Like, literally, Archibald only cares about Sarah if she can be of some use to him. He either wants her for himself or he wants her for car parts. And that's the sad truth of being a woman in the Funny Little Cars universe. Do not get me started about how Grady and the gang treat her. It's all, we gotta protect Sarah, when she literally just used a force field to destroy a bunch of other cars. Like, come on. Give the girl some credit. That is it. That's all I have for you guys today. So I'm gonna cease my coup and give the channel right back to Christopher. Ciao.
Well, that was something. Thank you for your help. As I was saying before I was interrupted, this movie is surreal. I don't even know if it's good bad, bad, or weird bad. It's very hard to recommend just because of how utterly bizarre it is. But I do believe there is some value here to watching it with your friends so that you can laugh at the strange animation and just weird things that take place in this film. Boy, what a great start to the year. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Weirdflix. Remember to tune in next time when I'll be reviewing, let me see here, anything that's not a kid's film. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Weirdflix, and remember, Weirdflix watches what no one else will.
Hey, have you seen those brand new